You go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3,
I have to start with your personal associations with Saturday Night Live. Like, did you religiously watch it every Saturday night?
Well, for me, I feel like I grew up watching Kristen Wiig, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Maya Rudolph, and then also Lonely Island and those digital sketches. So I think, like, for me, it was huge to get to, like, stay up late and watch it, but then also when those, like, digital shorts would go viral, like, that was so fun. And I remember being like, let me show you like a YouTube video. Like that was like I just got my first iPhone. Obviously, like things were going amazing. So like to show, and now it's all downhill. But to like show those sketches to people and like reenact them and play them, that was like such a big part of finding like comedy and like growing up for me.
My SNL Hall of Fame would have Gilda, Steve Martin, Will Ferrell, Adam Sandler, Kristen Wiig, Lonely Island, Please Don't Destroy. Like that's I think like from each era, those are my favorites. Eddie Murphy, you gotta put Eddie Murphy in there. The sketches that for me that still hit are Steve Martin doing A Very Special Christmas Wish.
If I had 3 wishes that I could make this holiday season, the first, of course, would be for all the children to get together and sing. The second would be for the $30 million every month to me. And the third would be for all-encompassing power over every living being and the entire universe.
I think is literally as funny today as it is the day it was done. I think Gilda and Steve dancing, for me, is as deeply emotional today as it was back when it was done. And there's something about Will Ferrell, for me, that's personal in that I got to see Will Ferrell at the Groundlings in a 99-seat theater in Los Angeles when I was a teenager, do sketches that I then saw him do on SNL. Like I saw the cheerleaders done on Melrose at the Groundlings.
We're on a caffeine high, so hold on tight. Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
Watching him go pro was literally being like a freshman in high school and see a senior get invited to the big show.
There's something like when you're younger about SNL that it feels like you're doing something
so bad. Yes, I was literally like, it starts at 11:30? My God. Like, it does feel like you're like, I'm an adult now.
Naughty.
There is a Hall of Fame for me. It's Eddie Murphy, it's Will Ferrell, it's Kristen Wiig, it's Tina Fey, it's Chris Farley, it's Kenan Thompson, and there are plenty others. When I came up, it was the Will Ferrell era. My style of comedy, even at Second City, had a lot of Will Ferrell sprinkled on it. You know what I mean? And so I would say that's influenced my career. It's influenced my performance style, for sure.
My mom was really into SNL, and she would TiVo it. And then do you know what TiVo is?
Yeah, it's like recording. It's like
it was like the first time that we could pause television, and we were like, TiVo is gonna take over the world.
And now look at
it. And it lasted like a summer.
But what a great summer.
Okay, let's see if we can get through one of these skits.
Sketches. Davey, please.
Okay, you ready, camera one? Oh!
My buddies and I would recreate the sketches at recess, whether it's the cheerleaders or Matt Foley, and I grew up with the best of Chris Farley and Will Ferrell and the commercial parodies, and I love them. Saturday Night Live was always really cool. It was really bonding for my parents and I, because they'd be like, this was around when I was a kid. And the fact that I loved it and thought it was so funny, and it's not like black and white like the Addams Family or something. I love the Addams Family, but it didn't feel like this old thing your parents are showing you from when they were a kid. Like it was for us as well. It's really unifying generations.
What about you?
I would watch it live as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I would stay up and watch it live. But it was Will Ferrell and Molly Shannon and Sherry O'Terry and Anna Gasteyer. That's when I fell in love with the show and thought it was really funny and fun. For my Hall of Fame, I really have a fondness for Maya Rudolph and Kristen Wiig and the ones I've previously mentioned, the ones I fell in love with when I was a kid, especially Will Ferrell and Sherry O'Terry. The Spartan Cheerleaders was one of my favorites as a kid, and it still reigns as something I really love.
I loved so many of the comedies and films that came out of that show. Like Coneheads was a massive reference in my family, but this movie has really been the crash course in it and has given me such an admiration for the bravery of that style of comedy or those comedians, and it's been so fun to get to dive into that world.
In 2008, I got to be a guest writer for 1 week at Saturday Night Live, which was a childhood dream. I got to write till 4 in the morning with Simon Rich on a Tuesday, and then Wednesday I had 3 sketches that went into the table read, and I got to experience that moment where they come out of Lorne's office, pin a piece of paper on the wall, and you find out if your sketch made it. And one of mine got in, and that adrenaline that was coursing through my veins on Saturday night as I heard the countdown happen was unlike anything I'd ever felt before.
Look, my name is Lorne Michaels. I'm the producer of Saturday Night.
The whole night?
Yeah, the whole night.
We interviewed anyone we could find that was in the building on October 11th, 1975. Writers, actors, crew people, band members, Lorne. And what we're dealing with is a collection of memories. Memories from before, memories from after. And for example, Rosie Schuster, out of nowhere just started talking about the hard hat sketch and what that meant to her and the women on the cast. And so, in a strange way, we were allowing the people who were there to define what memories they had that were important to them from that moment.
There's like such a huge ensemble that it almost probably in some ways felt like you were constantly shooting in front of live set. Would members of the cast want to hang out and watch everyone perform?
100%. I've never had this as much on a film. We had this cast camp where all the actors were hanging out instead of trailers, and then people would just hang out on set. People just wanted to come and see things. People would stay after rap to watch John Batiste recording the score. Willem Dafoe one day just hung out in the audience, and all the young actors kept on coming up to me and going, "Willem Dafoe's just watching us. I don't know how to do this while Willem Dafoe's watching us."
Would you hear a Dafoe laugh from the rafters?
Oh, yeah, you got a total kick out of it. And I went up to him and he just went, "You know what I love about your movie? No edge of frame. I don't know what the hell is on screen."
Well, you would have to know that there's an edge of frame for that J.K. Simmons scene, however.
That's funny. It was obviously a momentum to the way that we shot everything, and as we were shooting, we were constantly thinking about what is the camera seeing, what is the camera not seeing, and is there even one soft moment in any shot? You have to think that we can't let 2 seconds go by without the audience seeing something new, and without there being 2-3 layers deep of any given shot. But once we got to editing, it became about music. And I have 2 very musical editors, Shane Reed and Nathan Orloff, and they were working with John Batiste's music, which he recorded live on set. But it was very extensive. It was abstract and jazz and improvised, and they had to start to kind of construct ideas out of everything we recorded musically on set so that the film had a heartbeat.
Cory, you get owned by 2 legends, J.K. Simmons and Tracy Letts.
I really had the fortune of working with some astonishing, mature actors. We have a lot of the show's very much about the youth and the talent that took over SNL, but I was very honored to get to work with some of these legends, and they're...
Oh, and those scenes. I mean, that scene particularly with JK is look on your face as he rips the shit out of you. There's nothing like this look on Cory's face. You see the world come down.
You don't come back from that.
Yeah.
You don't come back from that at all.
With each character, we're trying to get at the essence of who they were. And with Chevy, we're talking about the fragility of ego. What is it like to be Chevy Chase, touched by God when it comes to comedy as a physical comedian, like an incredible wit, and at the same time is navigating a very tricky ego. And how does that confront the last generation? Milton Berle, talk about ego, and talk about also someone who was about as successful as they come in vaudeville and radio. And I think that confrontation is everything we wanted in this movie, as far as 2 generations coming head to head, and also 2 actors who, one stealing the spotlight and knowing that it's his time.
Your guys' it's true, they're transgressive scenes that have stayed the test of time.
Yeah, to get on national television and sing a song in front of white America and say, "I'm gonna get me a shotgun and kill all the whiteys I see," and have them laugh, lets you know that this show was onto something, that it's pushing the envelope forward, and that it is okay to be, a bit racy in humor, and
challenging.
But to be on primetime television to do that really pushed the envelope for the things that we see today.
Yeah. It's one of the things I love about the movie is the pushback from the woman with the red pen. Yeah, the standards and practices lady.
Catherine Curtin plays
and
her
imagining
brilliantly.
these renegade writers up against NBC standards.
Yeah.
That scene where we get to objectify Dan Aykroyd in a pair of short shorts was one of my favorite days shooting ever on anything. And it was interesting for me getting to know Gilda and reading and learning about the first women of SNL, Gilda and Lorraine and Jane, and all of them talking about how this was a moment where a lot of men in the space didn't think that women could be funny. Didn't think that there was a place for women in comedy. And I think in a lot of instances, they've said that they didn't even know the strides they were making. They were following that moment in time and seizing the opportunity to be, like you said, a bit transgressive, a little bit subversive. But you're right, that sketch still flies today. That is still relevant and funny and delicious.